Luke Radowski at wearechange.org has done so much great work over the year. He's just thanklessly and tirelessly confronted people over and over again, and of course sought out stories there in New York, the great metropolis where so many things happen. He got an exclusive interview, really a touching piece, with Joe Lozito. This is a man who was taking the subway. He took it daily, like many New Yorkers, to his job or whatever it was he was doing on a day-to-day basis, and he was attacked by what turned out to be a serial killer. He was completely unarmed and stopped this man who was trying to stab and slice him to death. He had some nearly fatal wounds, and it was just shocking already just to be in that incident, of course, but all the more shocking when he found out later in court testimony and everything that the NYPD had witnessed the entire thing and were approximately 2 to 3 feet away from him behind a closed door, but refused to respond, refused to stop this killer as he attacked this subway passenger. I've excerpted just about a 4.5-minute clip of Luke's larger 13-minute piece, so please go to wearechange.org and watch that entire piece. But let's go now to this incredible encounter that just shows how far things have deteriorated and why the NYPD claims they don't have a duty to protect and serve you.
In New York City, where virtually any form of self-defense is illegal, we're told that the NYPD is here to protect us. Is that really the truth? Is the NYPD required by law to protect the citizens of New York?
Yes. That's what they're there for. Yes.
Yes, they do. They have to serve and protect.
My name is Joseph Lozito. On February 12, 2011, my life was changed forever. It happened on the subway. And I come right to this seat where we're at, where I'm sitting right now. I sit down. It's a first seat in the first car. On the other side of this wall is the engineer of the train. After I sit down, 2 uniformed police officers enter the train the same door I did. They proceed to go right into the motorman's compartment through a door just like this. The next thing I know, a man comes up from the middle of the car. He comes to a door, starts banging on the door, bang, 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 looking through the window. And he says, "Let me in, I'm the police." And the police officer behind the door, looking through that window, looks at him and says, "You're not the police." With that, the gentleman turns around and walks back to the middle of the car. As soon as that gentleman left this area, another person that was standing right here next to me comes up here, frantically starts tapping on the window, alternately tapping and looking over his shoulder at the first man, trying to get the police attention, trying to get them to come out. And he's tapping on the window and he's waving, and he's tapping on the window and he's waving. Still no action. They don't come out. The first gentleman that tried to get in, the one who impersonated a police officer, stops 2 feet from me, maybe 3 feet from the store, looks at me, looks down at me, I look up at him. He takes out an 8-inch cooking knife, looks me dead in the eye and says, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die." And with that, he takes the knife and plunges it into my face. So he recoils his arm back for another plunge, and when he brings it back, I shot for his legs. And while I took him down, I was able to take him down. It gave him free rein for the back of my head. And while I was taking him down, he proceeded to stab me and slice me in the back of the head 3 separate times. Finally, the 3rd time he slices up, I'm able to catch his hand, I slam it down, he drops the knife. Right then and there is when I felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was the male cop that was in here, and he taps me on the shoulder and he says, "Okay, you can get up now, we got him." All the medical personnel is surrounding me. The police officer comes to the head of the bed that I'm on, and he shows me a mugshot, and he says, "Is this the guy that did this to you?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, you're a hero." And I said, "Well, I'm not a hero. Why am I a hero?" He goes, "Well, he killed 4 people last night." They told me later that week I'm going to have to testify before a grand jury. After you testified, Terrence Howell testified. And long story short, Terrence Howell basically said he was watching from the door through the window, and he was about to come out to stop Maxim Gelman, but when Gelman reached into his jacket, he thought he had a gun, so instead of coming out, he closed the door and stayed inside. And when he told me that, it was like being attacked all over again. You know, I was raised to respect the police, and when I found out that this whole thing could have been prevented, we were furious. I mean, what do you say to that? What do you say when there's 2 police officers less than 2 feet away from you, behind a door? They have guns, I have nothing. They have nightsticks, I have nothing. To me, the NYPD is a symbol of safety and security, and they're there to protect you. That's what I always thought it was. I always thought that's what the police were there for. And now I know, because of my case, the police don't have to do anything. So what they did that day, by staying in there and not coming out until I had control of Max and Gelman, until I had disarmed them, in the eyes of the city of New York, in the eyes of the state of New York, is perfectly okay. And there's something wrong with that.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a powerful piece up at wearechange.org, but it's a case example not only of a profile in courage and one man's incredible encounters, but also a profile in how everyone expects the police are going to protect them. But when it comes down to the incident, the police have been told that in a legal capacity, they have no duty to protect you. And so if you can't protect yourself, who will? Now, I don't know all the circumstances, so I'm not going to brand this cop a coward, but it certainly looks strange to me that he would completely stand down as a man is being potentially murdered with a knife when he's carrying a gun. And again, you hear the guy in the video talking about how he had nothing, yet because his life was on the line, wrestled this man until he had him overcome. The police had a gun, had a baton, but did nothing, just stood down. But why? Why can't New Yorkers defend themselves, carry weapons when they know there's criminals running rampant in a major city? It's a target-rich environment, so the criminals are only encouraged. But here's Bloomberg, here's the mayors of Chicago and all the major cities saying guns are illegal. We've got to ban them all. We've got to put all power in the hands of government, even though they're sworn not to protect you. Well, those officers and the military are also sworn to uphold the Constitution and Bill of Rights, and we're seeing a movement back towards that, thankfully. But we've got to turn the culture around, remind police that they are here to protect and serve the people of this country. Otherwise, why are we paying your salary, and why are you out there with the attitude like you're above the people? We need to have a general atmosphere of safety, and that comes through armed Americans, not through police state measures and more government power.